Hello everyone, I am Pawanpreet Singh, Assistant Professor at School of Legal Studies, RIMT University, Mandi Govindgarh, Punjab. In this lecture, I will be discussing about conceptual framework and benefits of goods and services tax. So, as far as the conceptual framework of goods and services tax is concerned, it is a value added tax and a consumption based tax on goods and services in particular, and this goods and services tax has come into force from 1st July 2017. As far as our Indian constitutional structure is concerned, the goods and services tax is defined under Article 366 clause 12A, wherein it has been defined as any tax on supply of goods or services or both, except taxes on the supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. This goes on to suggest that alcoholic liquor for human consumption has been kept out of the purview of goods and services tax, and this in particular is a tax which is levied on the supply of goods and services. Now, with the introduction of goods and services, a number of taxes at the state level and at the central level has been subsumed, and some of these taxes are VAT, central sales tax, luxury tax, entry tax, entertainment tax, service tax, etc. Now, the journey of GST has been a long journey, and in various stages a lot of discussions have taken place, and finally the GST Council was established, and towards 2016-2017 actual enforcement of GST has come into force, when on 1st July 2017 GST was launched, and after that all the respective states have also passed their respective state laws on the GST, and the CGST Act of 2017 was passed at the central level. Now, the goods and services tax have different components which are levied at the central level and at the state levels. As far as the intra supply of goods and services is concerned, IGST Act, IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Services Tax, is applicable, and as far as the within state supply of goods and services is concerned, SGST, that is State Goods and Services Tax, and CGST, that is Central Goods and Services Tax, is applicable. And as I have mentioned, interstate supply, that is if one state supplies a particular goods and services to some other state, then it comes within the purview of IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, and this in whole forms the component of GST, that is the three different elements of GST. Now, coming further, the key elements of GST, why GST has come into effect, and what are the major basic criteria of GST which is at present applicable in our country as far as indirect taxation model is concerned. So, as I have mentioned, it is applicable on the supply of goods and services in the very first stance, and whenever any supply of goods and services is made, then automatically GST is applicable on such criteria, and it is a destination based tax. Like one of the loophole, one of the key problem with the taxation regime prior to the GST was that the taxation system was not destination based, and there was cascading effect, tax on taxes which were majorly imposed. So, GST has tried to curb that very issue, and now GST is a destination based tax and a consumption based tax. That is to say that the last consumer who is availing a particular good or service is actually bearing that cost of tax. Now, I have already discussed the components. So, components of GST are majorly SGST and CGST, which are levied on a particular good and service as far as a supply of a good or service is concerned, and the taxable event in the goods and service tax is a supply of goods and services. And as far as the matters of administration of GST is concerned, it is the responsibility of GST Council, which is an administrative body and which is the rather apex law making body and the policy making body of GST, which is determining all the major issues concerning GST. Now, as far as the rates of GST are concerned, basically we can say the GST rates or the slabs which have been kept as far as the GST is concerned, they are primarily 5 rates. And as far as the 0% slab is concerned, it is also considered as a nil rate of GST, and it is kept for the essential commodities like the food items, like the grains. So all these commodities have been kept into the slab of 0%. And apart from the 0% or nil rate of GST, we also have 5% slab, 12% slab, 18% rate and 28% rate, which are different rates of GST, standard rates as well as the luxury rates, which are kept for the luxury goods. So these are major slabs, major rates which have been kept, which have been made applicable on different goods and service as far as the GST taxation regime is concerned. Now these are the major goods which have been kept exempted from the applicability of GST. As I have already discussed in the constitutional definition of GST, alcoholic liquor for human consumption has been kept out of the purview of GST. Apart from this, various petroleum products, which includes petroleum, crude petroleum, high speed diesel, motor spirit, natural gas or aviation turbine fuel, these all have been kept out of the purview of GST, and GST is not applicable on these very goods. Now coming to the second major aspect of today's lecture, that is the benefits of GST. Why GST has come into effect and what are the major benefits of GST after the GST taxation regime has been made applicable. So first of all, easy compliance. We can say that a robust and comprehensive taxation system has been made the foundation of the GST taxation regime, and various taxpayer services such as registrations, returns, payments, it have been made available to taxpayers online, and which would make the compliance of the taxation easy as well as transparent. So this goes on to suggest that once GST is made applicable, the compliance of the same, the compliance of the taxation regime is very easy now. Moving further, uniformity of tax rates and structures. Prior to the applicability of GST, what used to happen that various states used to apply different taxation slabs, taxation setups, taxation rates on similar kind of goods also. So after the coming of GST, a uniform rate of taxes, a uniform rate and structure of taxes have been made enforceable, and in other words we can say that GST has been made applicable to make our country a business taxation neutral country, irrespective of the choice of doing business, irrespective of the place of doing business, whether we are doing business in Punjab or we are doing in Maharashtra. So uniformity of taxes and rates of structures is another very important key aspect, which is the benefit of GST. Now removal of cascading, as I have already discussed, cascading effect is, and it means taxes on taxes. Once we purchase a commodity, the burden keeps on increasing as far as the taxation regime prior to GST is concerned, and the GST has targeted this aspect, and this is a major benefit of GST, that a cascading effect has been removed and a seamless system of input tax credit has been brought in within the structure of GST. Now this ultimately will result in gain and additional benefits and profits to the manufacturers and the exporters. So we can say that the subsuming of major central and state taxes and GST and a complete system of input tax credit as well as set off will ultimately help the manufacturers, will ultimately help the exporters, and will ultimately help in the growth and trade of the country. Now as far as the GST structure is concerned, there are more than 160 countries globally which are following the taxation regime of GST, and that goes on to suggest that once we are also believing this system, we are also following the system of GST, it will result into improved competitiveness also among us different countries, which will boost our economy more, which will boost our Indian exports more, and on the global scenario as far as the international markets are concerned, it will increase the competition and ultimately help our economy to boost up more. Further, revenue efficiency, as GST decreases the cost of collection of tax also as far as the governmental administration is concerned, and that is going to increase the revenue efficiency and will help in increasing the revenue efficiency of the government. Finally, this is the ultimate benefit of GST, that when it has subsumed a number of taxes, a number of taxation systems. So, that will help in establishing a single and transparent tax, and multiple number of taxes which used to be there have been now subsumed, and GST is now the single and transparent tax which is determining the supply of goods and service as far as within and inter state supply of goods and services is concerned, and it will ultimately help the economy to boost up. It will ultimately help to generate more trade within the country and increase the GDP and economy of the country. Thank you.